Lanseria that would rise to change the social and economic apartheid spatial architecture. He said a new smart city is taking shape in Lanseria, which 350 to 500,000 people will call home within the next decade. Now, all of this would naturally require some infrastructural change and support. On data prices, the president said the competition authorities are now working towards a resolution with the large mobile operators to secure deep cuts to data prices across prepaid monthly bundles, additional discounts targeted at low-income households, a free daily allocation of data, and free access to educational and other public interest websites are also under consideration. Now, Sanef, the IABSA Interactive Advertising Bureau of South Africa, Media Monitoring Africa, and Association for Progressive Communication, as well as other media and online industry organizations, have been meeting to provide thought leadership on universal internet access as a basic human right in South Africa. To talk more about this and a report on 7 core elements to help achieve this is Thandi Smith from Media Monitoring Africa. Thandi, thank you so much for joining us. A mouthful, I know there's a lot to talk about, but I mean, obviously it really just comes down to people having access to data and not having to pay the ridiculous amounts of money that we pay. And it is a human right in the sense that we have to educate ourselves. We should have opportunities of finding jobs, etc. What are the things that we are able to do with telecommunications?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think that there's a sort of basic approach that's been adopted by various organizations and governments that the internet has now become what is called a facilitative right to ensuring basic human rights are realized. And that's what we're seeing here. And, it's fantastic that we've seen these issues being addressed in the State of the Nation address. But, one of the big issues that comes along with this, it's great to have the infrastructure, it's great to have devices, it's great to have all of these, new plans and ways of implementing these things. But without the basic principles of digital literacy and skills development, we're not going to get very far. And we see this happen in other instances where we talk about providing devices to schools and the tablets per pupils. Without meaningful digital literacy programs, we're just going to take 5 steps forward and 10 steps back. We spoke about the 7-point plan, or you mentioned the 7-point plan. And what that is really various principles that could be adopted or implemented that will help ensure universal access is realized. We can go into a few of those things.
Yeah.
Sure. So some of those, the 7-point plan talks to access and free access at government facilities is the one. Free public Wi-Fi. The zero-rated content issue, which also came up during Sonar, but zero-rated content for government websites. And I think one of the really important ones is about the internet and access to the internet being seen as a municipal service, such as water and electricity and other basic services that get provided to citizens. Digital literacy and skills is the 4th one, as well as, or the 5th one, sorry, and also we don't see this as being, isolated and simply about access and devices, but also looking at minimum protections when it comes to access, So once you have access, who is complying with the regulations? Are we adhering to digital rights and data protections? And the last one is around oversight and monitoring and oversight of the principles. We have to have independent organizations.
Monitoring and oversight. The president did mention that the Competition Commission has obviously made various recommendations. How do you marry this to what ICASA's role is at the moment? And you mentioned there are all those various elements.
I think it's, well, to be completely honest, it's quite a complicated situation at the moment. I think we see this in the sort of broader internet governance space as well, where you have various players coming in, being responsible for various elements in the sort of ecosystem of access and internet access. But the important role of the Competition Commission and the inquiry and recommendations that we see coming out of that report sets the precedent as to, you know, what kind of regulation we need to be looking at. Such as, well, the implementation of the lifeline data, and allowing that sort of daily or monthly amount of data per person to access. So I think we're still trying to figure out which regulator, which industry body sort of plays their role. But I think we are making a lot of progress, and especially seeing this coming out in Sonar as well.
It's such a pity. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, and I hope that one day we will have a lengthier discussion and maybe a broader panel discussion too, because I'm sure there are contentions on some of these issues, and people don't agree. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks very much.
From Media Monitoring Africa, Thandi Smith. So.